This episode has been brought to you by DiceyGoblin.com, online board game retailer, where every board game is an award-winning board game. Hey everybody, welcome back to Board Online, Board Offline. Here we are, our second game in July. We were on a 5-game losing streak and we finally won. And I gotta tell you that at this point our morale was so low. I mean, I'm not talking about like there's no morale in the game. I'm talking about our actual morale was so low that if we had lost this one, I don't know how long. I mean, it might have been a while before we got back into playing another round of it. We won this one and we have persevered. So let me show you how this went down. Basically, you can see that we held this off pretty good, and the way we did that for most of the game, you can see at the end it started getting real bad. We've got collapsing cities all over the place now, and Paris is falling, and you know it's pretty bad now. But we had the operations expert, which, if you remember the last time, we upgraded him with paramilitary expert. Whenever you leave a city with a fated figure, remove one figure from that city. So we had him. And then you can see over there we're also using the dispatcher. So between the two of them, she would move him around during his turn. He would obviously move around through here during his turn as well. That was able to keep the faded figures to a manageable level for a good chunk of the game. Towards the end, we hit a couple of epidemics pretty quickly in a row. We did not get the box 8 bonus during this game. We didn't get it out. It didn't come out of the player deck, so we weren't able to use that really at all. It came in after the last epidemic. However, you can see that we did manage to actually not only cure 3 diseases, which obviously is required up there, we eradicated 2. Now, we only chose to positively mutate 1. We did give it the red virus here. Efficient to sequence, you no longer need to spend an action to discover a cure for this disease. So that's going to be good. The reason why we chose red instead of yellow on that one is because red still has all of its cities. None of its cities are faded, whereas yellow has 2 faded cities at this point. So yellow is going to be easier to eradicate than red. Now, the reason why we only chose to do 1 positive mutation, we could have put this same efficient sequence over here. The reason we didn't do that is because we wanted to go ahead and create a permanent military installation here in Atlanta, which gives us immediate access to all the rest of them and means we now have 5 on the board, which obviously this right here, if you have 6, then in each of the 6 major regions, that is, then you complete that objective. So we have 5 in 1 in each of 5 of the major regions. The one we don't have is Europe. The other upgrade we wanted to make sure we used was, if you remember, Sao Paulo became faded in the last game. We've now roadblocked it off. As you can see, this roadblock and this, Sao Paulo is now completely roadblocked off, which means Madrid and Sao Paulo both, now we don't ever have to worry. They can just do whatever. They can just collapse into nothingness. Let the faded come in. We don't have to worry about it. It will never affect our outbreak track. So that's why we thought that would be worthwhile, so we didn't have to mess with that to go ahead and isolate it. So now we won, so that means we also have the win bonus now. Scratch this off if you won a game in July. For any game played in August, after setup and before the first turn begins, add both 1 starting military base and 1 military base to any 1 city on the board. And the one we're most likely going to do is going to be Paris, because you see Paris has fallen. That will give us easy access into Paris if we need to get in there. And I think that really is going to, so what that means is that this objective will be completed at the beginning of every game from this point forward. Now, of course, who knows, maybe at some point this objective will no longer be an objective. But for right now, it is what it is. And let me tell you what, this game was so close. At one point, we actually got to the point, it was at the end of the medic's last turn. He took his turn, and then we realized that we were playing on the scientist being able to cure blue, but then we realized we didn't have enough player cards to get back around. The last player before the player cards ran out would be the medic. He would be the last character to go in the game. And so we had to figure out a way to get the medic enough blue cards. He had 3 already. Enough blue cards to be able to cure blue, because that was the last disease left to go. And boy, I tell you what, the wife and I sat for about 15 minutes is probably exaggerated, about 10 solid minutes just figuring out with all the powers we had, what the moves were we could make with the event cards. I mean, it was a real elaborate plan we had to come up with, but it worked. We won. So thanks for tuning in. I hope you tune in for August. I'm really excited to see what new stuff the beginning of August brings us. And until next time, if you're bored online, bored offline.